Hi, my name's Will, and welcome to the Drumroom, which is an extension of Angie's Gunroom from Christchurch. Today we have a band called Thousand Limbs in the Drumroom today. How are you guys going?
Very good, Will. Thanks for having us.
The band consists of Patrick, Andrew, Nick, and Jacob, but unfortunately today we only have Patrick and Andrew to chat to. So if you guys could introduce which of those two people you are and what you do in the band, that'd be great.
Hi, I'm Andrew. I play guitar.
And I'm Patrick, and I also play the guitar.
You're based in Auckland, and what would the genre be that best describes you?
Well, we're an instrumental band with elements of doom and sludge and stoner and some psychedelic and some hardcore as well. So, but just instrumental doom is fine. Less of a mouthful.
Cool. And my blue book says that the music video for Amok dropped on the 27th of April, which was actually 2 days prior to this recording, but at the release of this, it'll probably be about a month ago. What was filming that like? Were you present for that at all?
I wasn't involved at all. Paddy was the star of the video.
Yeah, so so that video was made by our friend Amber Beaton, who's a great director and she's a good friend of the band. She also shot the album cover, and so she said for part of my birthday present, she's like, I'm going to make you a music video, but I get full creative control and I get to do whatever I want and you just do what I say. And I was like, that's wonderful. So it was really, really cool. So I went down to Taupo with her and her partner Lisa, and yeah, we shot the video in the Kinloch Forest, which is a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, I quite like Kinloch. It's a nice place.
Yeah, it's great.
Good. So how do you feel about being a solely instrumental band? I mean, are you looking at getting sort of vocals involved later on down the track, or are you just happy being an instrumental sludge doom band?
Personally, I'm really happy doing instrumental. It's the first time I've ever been in an instrumental band in my musical career of the last 20 years or so. Got quite comfortable in the last band that Paddy and I were in. Our vocalist lived out of town, and so we'd always practice instrumentally, and so moving, and then have a few jams before shows with our singer. So moving on to just straight instrumental was quite natural.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, totally open to the, like, on the album there's like synthesizer and piano and things as well, so as far as having an extra texture or a different timbre on the album or voice, totally open to experimenting with that, but the core of the band will still be an instrumental project, I think.
Is there a member of the band that actually plays keyboards and such, or is it like a backing track scenario?
Well,
Nick plays synthesizer and then he loops it onto a pedal, so he has a trigger that he sets for that, and on the record we actually did record some piano. I'm a terrible piano player. I only know one song, and that's the song that's on the album. But we used a beautiful piano out at Massey High School. There's a
great big Fazioli.
Fazioli, yes. And even if you trash on the piano, it makes everything sound lovely. So that was really nice to play.
Cool. Yeah. All right. So where did you record your album?
We recorded with a friend of mine in Devonport, a guy called Dave Rhodes. He's been engineering for 25 plus years, used to work for Antenna Records. He's also the drummer from Stylus, Emma G Band, and was it 29 Blackbirds, I believe, as well. I used to play in a band with him years ago, and it was a case of wanting to record. We'd always done previous recordings very traditionally, Pro Tools, drums first, bass, lots of editing, getting everything really polished, and we decided we just wanted to go in and do it.
So you basically recorded it live?
We recorded the whole thing live in one afternoon. I think we spent about 6 hours on it. And it worked out really good. Dave's a big fan of live recording. He gets really, really nice sounds. And it was just sort of, I don't know, it's more natural. It just sort of, it was like it was no click track involved. We just set up our amps and played as if it was a practice.
I would agree. Recording live does have an element that like recording to a click sort of loses.
Absolutely, it can get too polished, and for this project it needs to sound kind of gnarly, and it needs to kind of breathe and slow down and speed up naturally.
I think, so there are like unplanned, I guess, tempo shifts here and there that some people might notice, but it just sort of, it's the way it feels most natural for this music, and
that's the way most people play it live.
That's anyway. That's what it's going to sound like if you see us,
And we're lucky to have a drummer who is very tight.
Definitely,
and just looks after us in that sense.
For sure.
So who else is in the band, and what instruments do they play? I guess we should probably mention them.
Yeah, there's Nick Baldwin, who's the bass player, and he also does all the synthesizer and programming and soundscape stuff. He's got a real skill with that. And there's Jacob, who's our drummer.
Yeah.
The track Amok, which I watched the video for just recently, I checked the length of the song. It was about 3:47, I think. I'm a bit of a stickler for length of songs. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was about 3:47, and I was wondering if the other tracks on your album are also about the same length. I mean, being an instrumental band, like sometimes you can't stretch stuff out too long. Like you need sort of filler because there's no vocals to work with.
Yeah.
So are they all about sort of 4 minutes, or are they longer?
No, there's 2 long songs, 2 around the 5-6 minute mark. There's 2 at that length, and then there's 2 much shorter one, kind of ambient, kind of transition kind of ones. So it's,
are the longer ones just simply slower, or
slower, but also
more repetitive as well. But yeah, they're bigger tracks.
bigger tracks, but a lot more in the structure of the song. I guess a lot more parts, almost proggy.
Yeah,
but
more movements.
in the arrangement sense. But
yeah, those. Mark's probably the most conventional song on the record.
and then also, I mean, Amber chose that song for the video. We sent her the songs and just said, shoot whatever you want, and she said, well, that song I like, and it's also a good time to work a video too.
Yeah, she had a concept in mind already, like the narrative, so she's like, yes, and she was listening to it, and she was like picking out kind of plot points in the song, saying this is the one. That,
Right.
Yeah. So she just said, this is the song that you're getting a video for. I'm
yeah,
like,
which is cool.
All right.
Yeah.
a mate of mine also watched it today, and he got a sort of a Behemoth video vibe. Did you also pick that up?
Someone else commented on that the other day on Facebook.
I think it's the wide brim hat. Like,
Yeah.
I think the brim does it. Like,
And the black and white.
the black and white.
The
yeah.
high-res black and white for sure.
It's the black and white, the sort of the magical connotations, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sort of lended to that.
We're not quite as scary as Behemoth.
What do you guys do outside of the band? I mean, do you have other music things going on? You got other projects or hobbies or what?
Yeah, I'm not in any other bands at the moment. Musical hobbies. I make traditional Māori instruments, taonga puoro, so kowawa putatara, the conch shells, pururihua, like bull roarers, that sort of thing, just for fun, which is a habit I got into through a friend of mine who's a carver, working together at the museum. And I also, for the last probably almost 8, maybe 10 years, have been brewing beer with Hamish, who plays bass in Ginsu and the Steak Knives.
Right.
So every weekend we get together and chuck a brew down.
Yes.
Yeah.
And did you say that you worked at the museum?
Yeah, I work at the Auckland Museum. I've been there since 2010 doing a bunch of different jobs. I'm currently working in collections. I work behind the scenes working with artifacts and objects, packaging things, moving stuff around. Yeah, it's an awesome job.
Cool. What about you,
Yeah.
Patrick?
Yeah, myself and Nick are actually both high school music teachers. So we're both, he's the head of music at Massey High School and I'm the head of music at One Tree Hill College. So that's music in our day job as well, which is really, really cool. And I also sing bass in the Auckland Welsh Choir.
Okay. Well, what's it like teaching music? I'd imagine being like if you're a good musician, like sometimes teaching music can be quite frustrating.
Honestly, the students we have are super talented. I'm never really worried about that. They are much harder workers and much more gifted than I was and am. And so yeah, it's the musical side of it's not the frustrating part of it. Teaching's a really rewarding job, and we're really lucky to have good students.
School kids have upped their music game these days.
So much, they'd give it like
hearing their students and what they get up to compared to what I was doing with the rock quiz in
Me
the
too,
90s.
yeah.
Like, they're light years ahead of what we used to do.
Really they've got the resources, they've got YouTube, but also I think the work ethic is way better as well. With gives you hope for the youth. Like but real talk, they're really, really good students. Yeah.
I think also because now, because of the internet, there appears to be so much more competition. Like the rest of the world is, you're in competition with the entire world now.
Yeah.
It's a really
Whereas
good
like
point.
when I was in high school, which was late 80s,
Yeah.
there was no internet. There was,
It was just whoever else was in your music class.
yeah,
That was
exactly.
it.
It was just like people locally
Yeah.
were your competition. So I mean, the competition was like the bar was much lower.
It's a really good point.
Now you're up
Existed in
against
that.
everyone.
That's right. The world is much smaller now. It's more connected.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. I think it's really good in that sense. It's one of the good things about technology. For
It
sure.
stops everyone being quite so slack.
That's it. Yeah.
People have stopped using that term "good for a New Zealand band,"
Yeah.
which used to be thrown around a lot back in the day. Yeah.
Your album has not yet been released, so I guess we should discuss when it's going to be released.
Yeah.
So it comes out on all digital platforms on the 8th of June, and it'll be free from our Bandcamp, so do go along to a Bandcamp to get it.
Yep.
And then we'll have a release show for it the following Friday on June 15th at Whammy Bar, and we'll be playing with our friends Ginsu and the Steak Knives and Slumbug, which we're really looking forward to.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're not doing a physical release for this one, so it won't be that, but there'll be t-shirts and stickers and
Yeah.
and the other bands have merch as well, so definitely support them too.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when you say it's free to download, I mean, is it going to be like a donation thing? Like people can actually give you some money if they want to?
Oh, we've really thought about it. I've always been a fan of just giving music away for free. I mean,
I'd rather people heard it. People,
Sure.
if people
Yeah.
want it in their life, I'd want them to have it. For iTunes, you can't actually have it for free, so it's on the lowest possible thing, whatever that is. So just get it from Bandcamp. That's where it's free. So.
yeah,
If I were you, and I'm not, but if I were, I would probably put it on to like a sort of a Koha thing.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like if people just want to get it for free, then
Yeah.
they can. But if they want to give you $10 for your troubles,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I did that with a recording a couple of years ago, and like a couple of people were really generous. They gave us like $50.
Oh, right on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Whatever, because they just wanted to. So
That's
Yeah.
really cool.
there's nothing wrong with that, I guess.
Yeah, well, something to
I
think about.
spent a lot of time playing in hardcore bands back in the early 2000s, and you know, anything more than $5 was expensive for a show, and
Sure.
everyone just gave everything away for free, and it was. So I still sort of have that mindset about just trying to not wanting to feel like I'm overcharging for stuff,
Sure.
which I know sounds weird to a lot of people these days, but.
But I mean, this is not. I mean, it's the genre we play is niche within niche. You're never gonna pay the rent or buy groceries with this.
Nah.
You're only doing it because you're enjoying it, and you'd want other people to enjoy it. So as long as they come to a show, enjoy themselves, and download it, that was fine by us, really.
Awesome. Well, I was very impressed with your first release. It was very
Thank
good.
you very
Thanks,
much,
man.
Will.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cool. All right. So, do you have any plans for 2018 apart from what we've already discussed, like beyond this album?
We'll be playing a few shows in the North Island in support of it. We've got one coming up in Napier in July, and there'll be a few more, and that's going to be with our friends band Dick Tracy, who are
Yeah.
a wonderful, wonderful band, and yeah, we'll probably just be locking in a few more shows for the end of the year.
Are there any
Yeah.
specific dates or things that people
Just
can
that
look
one
at?
so far.
That's the only one that's locked in
Is
solidly at the moment, which is the
July the 9th or 7th.
7th, I think.
Yeah,
July the 7th, yeah.
And that'll be where?
Somewhere in Napier.
Somewhere in Napier. Yeah, sorry. So Kia, the singer from Dick Tracy, has organised everything. We're
Yeah.
just tagging along. Happy to.
So
Yeah.
somewhere in Napier.
Somewhere in Napier
Yeah.
on July 7th.
Keep
yeah.
an eye on our Facebook. There'll be
Yeah.
Cool.
details to come for sure.
So, is there anybody that you'd like to thank before we wrap it up for today?
Totally. I'm definitely Amber, the director, and her partner Lisa and Melody, who all worked on the video. Lisa also stars in the video, which was really cool, and it was just,
Yep.
I don't know, really generous of them. Definitely Dave.
Yeah.
And the album was mastered by Brad Boatwright, who's one of our favourite engineers. He did the most recent master of Sleep's Dope Smoker, and he did Yob, Clearing the Path to Ascend, so we're really happy
Nice.
that he came on board. He did a wonderful job.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, my twin brother is a graphic designer, and he did the design and the logo and all of that, which was very kind of him. I did an attempt of it, and it was terrible, and I just showed it to him, and I was like, hey, can you give me some advice? And he's like, oh, buddy. And then he just did a job. He's like, yeah, you can have this. And it's like, thanks, man. So that was very cool. Our friend Gareth came and shot and recorded on the day that we were in the studio. He spent his afternoon with us, and he shot the promo for us, which was really nice of him too.
So there'll be a small bit of footage coming out leading up to the album release as a bit of a teaser.
Teaser.
Yeah. So,
So thank you, Gareth, for that.
yeah, thanks in advance.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh well, thanks very
Yeah.
much for coming in to see me today, and it was a pleasure to meet both of you.
Awesome.
Pleasure
Thanks
to
for
be
having
here.
us.
Thanks very much, Will.
Cool. Cheers.
Cool.
Cheers.